Hey mathematicians, so I'm going to work the first few problems on this worksheet for you. And for problem number 1, actually for all these problems, your goal is still the same. You want to get the variable by itself. You want to isolate it. So in this case, we just need to take a look at what is sitting there with the n. And because there is a fraction bar there, we know that that means divide. So we're going to have to cancel dividing by 9. And you cancel that, of course, with multiplication. So I'm going to actually write this kind of underneath where I've got a little bit more room here. And so again, I'm going to cancel out dividing by 9, and I'm going to do that by multiplying by 9. And of course, you have to do it on both sides. So here, that's going to cancel. That's going to leave you with the variable. And of course, what you do on one side, you have to do on the other, right? So over here on the right-hand side, we've got 7 times 9. And then we're going to divide that by 2 because you've got that 2 that's in that denominator. And of course, when you have that fraction bar, that means divide. So we just need to do 7 times 9, which is 63. 63 over 2. There are no common factors here. So this is as simple as it is going to get. So remember, we want in algebra, we like fractions. So leave as an integer. So either a whole number or like a negative whole number. So leave as an integer or a simplified fraction. And this is as simple as it's going to get. So that's all you need to do for number 1. So it'd just be 63 over 2. Okay, so here in example number 2, remember from class that we said you can't isolate the variable as long as it's in the denominator. So a pretty cool trick that you can do is actually the easiest thing. You could multiply both sides by x, but a clever student in our class yesterday actually brought up another idea that is even easier, actually, is flip the entire proportion. So what I mean by that is instead of 5 over x, you're now going to make this x over 5. And then instead of 2 over 8, you're now going to make it 8 over 2. And so once you've got that numerator once you've got the variable, I should say, in that numerator, you're going to do exactly what we did before, which is to isolate that variable. So in this case, I have dividing by 5. How am I going to cancel out dividing by 5? I'm going to multiply by 5. And I need to do it on both sides. So here, those 5s are going to cancel each other out. That's going to leave me with just an x isolated. So then here, you'll do 5 times 8. And then you'll take that answer and divide it by 2. So in this case, 5 times 8 is 40. And 40 divided by 2 will still get even more simple because 40 divided by 2 is 20. So we should have 20 for problem number 2. Okay, problem number 3 is kind of the same idea as problem number 2. You can't isolate the variable when it's in the denominator. So I'm going to pause here for a second and give you a minute to figure out what you're probably going to do. Let's see if you can recall that to start. And hopefully you took a second to think about that. So all you need to do is flip the entire proportion. So what I mean by that is instead of 10 over v, it's just going to be v over 10. And instead of 9 over 7, it's going to be 7 over 9. So then we're going to have to cancel out that dividing by 10, and we're going to do that by multiplying by 10. And we're going to need to do it on both sides. So those will cancel and leave you with the v that you want to isolate. So we'll do 7 times 10. And then we're going to take that answer and divide it by 9, because we know that's what a fraction means. And so 7 times 10 is 70. And 70 over 9 is a fraction that is as simplified as this one is going to get. So we're actually going to leave it as a 70 over 9. Okay, so number 4, there's no flipping, nothing to do like that. We've got dividing by 5, which we need to cancel out by multiplying both sides by 5. So that is going to cancel. That is going to leave me with an x. And of course, if I do it on one side, I had to do it on the other side. So here, I'm going to do 5 times 5. And then I'm going to divide it by 8, because that was the bottom part of it, right? So we've got x is equal to 25 over 8. And using your handy dandy little calculator, you will see that this is as simplified as that fraction gets. So your solution for number 4 is 25 over 8. Hopefully this is enough to get you guys started on the rest of the page. Please take a look at that. I also gave you some other examples on the notes yesterday too. And, just do the best you can. Don't get too stressed out. And I'll see you back in class tomorrow.